This is the new iPhone 16 and it might seem like a minor upgrade, but there's more than meets the eye. Also, the question that most people will have in their minds is, should they buy the baseline Apple flagship or the baseline Google flagship? So, iPhone 16 versus Pixel 9, let's compare. Hi, I'm Arshad. You're watching Trakin Tech English, your destination for detailed, incisive gadget reviews. Alright, starting with the design, if you saw these phones from the sides, you would mistake them for both being iPhones. Primarily because you've got a sleek matte aluminum frame and they're sandwiched between two pieces of glass. One on the front, one on the rear, of course. Now, the iPhone 16's frosted back has this soft touch glass, whereas the Pixel 9 has a slightly shiny, glossier look. Now, both these phones are also available in a variety of colors and they do look very, very good. In particular, the Pixel, I like this color, and on the iPhone, I like the ultramarine blue. But this pink also does look good. Which is your favorite color? Do let me know in the comments. Now, the new protruded camera deco on the Pixel 9 does look very, very good. I really like it. I like it better than the wiser look of the Pixel 8. And on the iPhone now, you've got the same vertical camera design layout that was there on the iPhone XS as well. When you place these phones on a table, and everybody knows this year, is that the iPhone wobbles a lot. Pixel does not. By the way, on the iPhone 16 this year, the mute switch has been replaced with the action button, which we all expected. And there is the new camera control button. I'm going to call it a button, Apple, because it is a button it presses. And I've already ranted about this camera control button in my iPhone 16 Pro Max review. I really don't like it. It's fiddly, it's unintuitive, and I switch it off. Now, both of these are of course compact phones, but the iPhone 16 is slightly smaller, primarily because it has a slightly smaller 6.1-inch display as opposed to 6.3-inch display on the Pixel 9. Also, when you look at the front, the Pixel 9 has slimmer bezels and a smaller punch hole cutout, which means that you get more real estate on the Pixel 9 compared to the iPhone 16. Now, one thing Apple mentioned is that the ceramic shield on the iPhone 16 has improved by 50% this year. While it might have improved in tensile strength, it scratches up very easily. Just take a look at the close-up shot of our review unit's display. It is terrible. In comparison, I genuinely feel that Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2 used on the Pixel 9 is far better at scratch protection. Now, both these phones also have IP68 rating, but there's one advantage on the Pixel 9, and that is the fact that the Type-C port is a Gen 3.2 Type-C port, and it's faster than the USB 2.0 on the iPhone 16. So if you use your phones for transferring files from one storage device to the phone, or vice versa, then it'll be faster on the Pixel 9 compared to the iPhone 16. By the way, one thing I must definitely mention is that, like, I'm not a fan of the camera control on the iPhone 16, I'm also not a fan of the placement of the power button and the volume rocker on the Pixel 9. It's so confusing. Why would Google put the power button over the volume rocker? It makes no sense. Technically, the Pixel 9 has a better display than the iPhone 16, primarily because it has a smoother 120Hz refresh rate, you get a brighter OLED panel, and you also get a larger display. But don't be fooled by the specs, because the experience of actually viewing content on both these panels is largely similar. Now, while the Pixel did get brighter whether you were using it outdoors or you're watching HDR videos, the iPhone's color accuracy and reproduction is pretty good too. Now, the other advantage on the Pixel is the superior haptic feedback. We think that it is tuned far better than the iPhone 16. Now, there's a proper ultrasonic in-display fingerprint scanner on the Pixel 9 now, and you also get Face Unlock, which is not similar to Face ID on the iPhone, but the iPhone doesn't have an in-display fingerprint scanner, so keep that in mind. Now, one of the things I really want Google and Apple both to fix in their future phones is a higher PWM dimming rating. They should give that, because both the Pixel 9 and the iPhone 16 have a low PWM dimming rating. So if you are sensitive to low light flicker, then definitely that's going to be a problem for you. Now, while testing the speakers, we noticed that the Pixel 9 did get louder compared to the iPhone 16, but the iPhone 16 sounds richer. So you can be the judge for yourself as to which one you prefer, but I like the iPhone 16 slightly better. Now, one advantage on Android phones in general and Pixel 9 as well is the fact that you get support for high-res Bluetooth codecs like LDAC, which is not available on the iPhone 16. So the Pixel 9 has the Tensor G4 inside, whereas the iPhone 16 has the new A18. In fact, at the keynote, Apple mentioned that the A18's performance is like 30% higher than the A16 Bionic inside the iPhone 15. Anyway, let's take a look at the comparison of the benchmarks and the performance between these two phones. Now, we started with Geekbench, and in both the single core and the multi-core score, the iPhone 16 is just way better than the Pixel 9. It's a clear indication of the raw power that the A18 brings to the table. Now, Google keeps talking about tensors, NPU, GPU and AI performance, but in Geekbench's AI scores, you can see that Apple is actually better. With the A18, you get an NPU that has 35 TOPS of power, and this time around, Apple has also added 8 gigs of LPDDR5X RAM type across the iPhone 16 lineup, which also includes the iPhone 16. All of this is, of course, so that it can do on-device artificial intelligence when Apple Intelligence comes about, but right now it's not available. Now, when we ran 3D Mark Wildlife test, the Pixel 9 actually had a higher GPU stability score than the iPhone 16, but the numbers are actually kind of deceiving, primarily because the best loop scores, the FPS captured, and even the battery life lost was all better on the iPhone 16 compared to the Pixel 9. Now, the A18 has also been supremely improved in terms of graphics performance, so much so that you also get ray tracing support, and games like Assassin's Creed Mirage and Resident Evil Biohazard, which wouldn't run on the regular iPhone 15 and would run only on the Pro versions, now runs on the base iPhone 16 as well. Trust me, even if Android gets Assassin's Creed Mirage, the Pixel 9 won't be able to handle it. No way. That is also evident from the fact that in our Genshin Impact test, where we played the game for 30 minutes at highest graphics and 60 frames per second, we actually got an average FPS of 58.8 on the iPhone 16. As for the Pixel 9, unfortunately, the tool that we used didn't work on this, but when we were playing the game, we got about 55-60 FPS at the start, but about like 5-10 minutes later, it drops down to 45, 40, and sometimes even 37, 38. Now, evidently, the iPhone is a gaming beast, but in daily usage, just because the Pixel 9 has a 120Hz refresh rate display, it is so smooth, and I prefer the daily experience on the Pixel 9 over the iPhone 16. Most people buying small phones don't really care about gaming that much and they want like a smoother experience. Then the Pixel 9 would be better suited for them, especially for daily tasks like Gmail, social media, all of that. Alright, let's talk about the network performance. Thankfully, this year Google has improved the network performance on the Tensor G4, so we are getting excellent 5G speeds on both Airtel and Jio, but that's also of course true for the iPhone 16. As for the rest of the connectivity features, you get support for Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 5.3, NFC, everything on both these phones. You know what, the 3nm fabrication process on the A18 makes it extremely power efficient as well. Therefore, you get fantastic battery life on the iPhone 16. Now, in our testing, the iPhone 16 gave us a screen on time of 7 hours and 37 minutes, whereas the Pixel 9 gave us 5 hours and 30 minutes of screen on time. But one thing I must definitely mention is that iPhone is running at 60 Hz and Pixel was running at 120 Hz. So if you drop down to 60 Hz, you will probably get about 6 hours of screen on time on the Pixel 9. Yet I think iPhone definitely has longer battery life, despite having a smaller battery, by the way. Now, the iPhone 16's charging speed, official charging speed, is 20 watts, but we did see it sometime go up to like 23, 25 when it was at 0%, 1% when we was charging. But it is constantly at 20 watt, and after some time it drops down to like 13, 14 watts. The Pixel takes about 1 hour 35 minutes for a full charge, despite having a faster 27 watt charging speed. But that's also because the Pixel has a larger battery. Now, when you charge these phones wirelessly, the Pixel 9 has 15 watt charging speeds, whereas the iPhone can do with a compatible MagSafe charger and a Qi 2 charger. You can do up to 25 watts, and that MagSafe charger costs 5,500 rupees. Alright, now talking about the cameras on both these phones, the setups are largely similar. You get a primary camera, an ultra wide, and a selfie camera, but the ultra wide angle camera on the Pixel 9 is a 48 megapixel one, and on the iPhone is a 12 megapixel one. Now, comparing the primary cameras, the iPhone 16 captures more details and sharper textures when you look at the 100% crop. That's because you can get 24 megapixel pixel binned outputs as opposed to 12.5 MP outputs from the Pixel 9. Now, this year's 2x in-sensor crops from the iPhone 16 are enhanced by fusion technology. So Apple is actually calling it an optical camera, which could sound like a stretch, but the quality is so good, and it is definitely better than the Pixel 9. Now, with respect to color reproduction, it's not entirely neutral on both. iPhone gets the pinks right here, whereas Pixel gets the green right. But overall, if you look at it, Pixel sample is closest to the actual scene. iPhone tends to make the scene a bit warmer. Anyway, this is a minor thing because both look very good and can be edited in post as well. And most importantly, this year, iPhone 16 has photographic styles, which lets you, change the undertones, change the mood of the image to create a look that you prefer. The control is in your hands. I think photographic styles is a good move, but for people who just want to click and take a photo, they might not really care about it too much. In HDR samples, we can see that the Pixel controls the highlights slightly better. Overall, though, I think that iPhone has definitely improved the HDR performance, and both do look good. Like I've mentioned before, the Pixel 9 skin tones are completely wrong. It messes it up. It's got a red skin problem, but it's not like the iPhone is any better at skin tones either. It's not entirely neutral, but it definitely keeps it closer to neutral, so I'd prefer the iPhone here. And now if you're shooting people against the sunlight, the skin tone observations that I made with the primary camera, they're very similar. It's problematic on both, but the HDR performance itself is really good because the highlights are controlled really well, and both these phones pull out a lot of details from the shadows as well. Now, if you're shooting portraits, it's clear to me the iPhone 16 is better than the Pixel 9 because you get better edge detection, semantic segmentation, and a more natural looking bokeh drop-off. By the way, with the base iPhone 16, you can shoot 3x portraits, which was very interesting, something that we noticed. So you can shoot at 1x, 2x, and 3x. And on the Pixel 9, you can shoot at 1.5x, 2x, and 3x. Now, the iPhone 16 has made significant strides in low-light photography. It definitely captures way more details than the Pixel. It also doesn't mess up the color science like the Pixel 9 does. Overall, the iPhone's low-light photography is better. On the other hand, the Pixel's 48MP ultra-wide-angle sensor gives it a resolution advantage, leading to more detailed shots. However, the iPhone's upgraded sensor with autofocus allows for better macro photography, getting you closer to the subjects, and you can take a look at the shots for yourself and let me know what you guys think. Now, when it comes to selfies, I think the iPhone does it better. You've got more natural looking skin tones, the dynamic range is also superior, and even the selfie portraits with the edge detection and the bokeh drop-off look better on the iPhone compared to Pixel. Now, when you look at video recording at 4K 60fps on both the phones, both are actually excellent, video shooters. But what the iPhone does better is definitely HDR and stabilization.
So right now we are recording the videos using the iPhone 16 and the Pixel 9. Both are using its primary lens to record this video at 4K 60fps.
The other thing that I like about the iPhone 16 is the audio quality. It's better than the Pixel 9, that's for sure. Plus, you have the audio mix feature, which is damn awesome. Just take a listen to the differences between the standard, the in-frame, the studio, and the cinematic modes. It sounds incredible. And Pixel's audio eraser cannot do as good a job as the audio mix on the iPhone.
I am recording a video for testing out the audio mix feature. I am recording a video for testing out the audio mix feature. I am recording a video for testing out the audio mix feature. I am recording a video for testing out the audio mix feature.
Now, despite having a high-resolution sensor in the ultra-wide-angle video, we didn't like the Pixel 9 because it had a lot of focus hunting issues, and the quality of the ultra-wide footage at 4K 60fps is actually better on the iPhone. Same is true for selfie video at 4K 60fps. While Pixel's HDR is great, the problem is the soft face. It's rather bad, and the iPhone beats it once again. Even in low-light video recording, the iPhone 16 is definitely better. Now, remember I was talking about the vertical camera layout? Well, Apple has made it like this so that you can shoot spatial videos. And by the way, in the camera app itself, you now have a spatial video mode when you slide. Now, I've spoken about photographic styles, audio mix, and spatial video on the iPhone 16, but Pixel also does have a few features that the iPhone does not. For example, you've got the Add Me feature and Magic Editor within the Photos app, which is awesome. By the way, iOS 18's cleanup feature, which is available on the iPhone 16 right now, we compared it against Magic Eraser on the Pixel. And trust me, Pixel does it better. Despite the fact that it has to go to the cloud and do it, but it does it better. Now it's time to talk about the software, and the iPhone 16 comes with iOS 18 but without Apple Intelligence, whereas the Pixel 9 comes with Android 14 and the promise of 7 years of OS updates. Currently, you have AI features on the Pixel 9, and there are features like Magic Editor with Reimagine. You've also got the Add Me feature, which is damn nice. And then there is Pixel Studio, which you can use to generate images using prompts. There's a Pixel Screenshot app, there's a Pixel Weather app. There's a lot happening here. But of course, my favorite indication is Google Gemini on the Pixel 9, along with support for Gemini Live. So definitely the Pixel 9 has an advantage over iPhone in terms of AI features right now, but that situation will change soon when the iOS 18.1 update comes about a month later. In fact, we have a bunch of other iPhones running the iOS 18.1 update, and the AI features actually work like a charm. So let us give you like a sneak peek at what you can expect. The new and improved Siri is actually contextually aware, and it's pretty good. It's much improved now. I really like the writing tools function. In fact, I'm using the iPhone 15 Pro Max with the iOS 18.1 update, and I've been using it extensively to proofread, to make text concise, all of those stuff, and it works exceptionally well. The other game changer feature is that you can not only record calls, but recorded calls can also be transcribed, and the transcription can be saved within the Notes app. Of course, the Pixel also can do that, but iPhone's implementation has been done really well. Now, with respect to software experience, at this moment, I'm reiterating, the Pixel 9 has an advantage over the iPhone 16, primarily because it's got the AI integration, but that situation could change really soon. All right, after comparing these two devices, I have two strong reasons to recommend the Pixel 9 over the iPhone 16, one of which is definitely the fact that you get a 120Hz refresh rate display, and the other one is the fact that the AI features are currently available on the phone. That's just it. For every other parameter, the iPhone 16 is a better phone than the Pixel 9. And when Apple Intelligence comes about, then in that case, I feel that it'll be much tougher for me to recommend the Pixel 9 over the iPhone 16 if anybody is considering these two phones. Unless, of course, the cost of the Pixel drops down drastically, which will definitely happen. 100%. I think it'll happen like in a 2-3 month time frame, because already in Flipkart's Big Billion Day sale, it has dropped in price. So those are my thoughts. If you guys have a differing opinion, do let me know in the comments below while I work on the next comparison and take a wild guess at what it would be. That's it from me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep tracking and stay safe.